All right, we're moving on to regulation. I think it's pretty obvious that the VCs and Elons of the world who helped get Trump elected believe that Trump just won't regulate. You know, that what is Doge, Department of Government Efficiency. Yeah, exactly. We're going to cut everything. Why would we add any regulation to get in the way of AI?
Let it rip, baby.
We should talk about what is Elon trying to achieve from a regulatory perspective, because he was supportive of SB 1047, the California bill that Governor Newsom vetoed this year. So I am a little confused. Maybe you guys have a better sense of what Elon prefers from a regulatory perspective.
He prefers he be the one to do it, you know, and everyone else be regulated. Is my
checks out. Didn't he suggest that SpaceX executives be part of the Pentagon?
Yeah,
I think that was a story that came out today. It's seems like what's good for Elon is apparently good for America.
But yeah, I mean, Elon is extremely worried about sort of, you know, the big existential risks of AI. That's why he helped create OpenAI in the first place. Now OpenAI is another source of worry for him. So he's been supportive of rules to try and make sure we don't create some super intelligence, while at the same time now building his own foundation model company with XAI.
Yeah, the interesting thing, does Elon look for regulation when he's behind in an industry, and then, you know, where he's ahead, he looks for deregulation? I think if you look at even things like SpaceX or Tesla, you know, he's advocating for deregulation because, and potentially he would benefit from, you know, electric car subsidies being revoked because he's so far ahead that other companies are more reliant on those subsidies. Similar for SpaceX, you know, he's so far ahead that anything that allows him to launch more rockets faster is good for Elon. AI, not as clear, because if OpenAI and Anthropic and others just kind of go at the pace they're going, you know, he's a little bit behind. Other AI related regulation, though, I guess, would be something maybe we should discuss around wokeness of the AI or free speech.
Right. Clearly that's
open source,
sort of racial bias and stuff is not going to get regulated. I also think, you know, Hollywood has a potential, you know, strong copyright interest in AI, and they seem sort of out of the fold in a Trump administration. So you could have imagined a Harris administration sort of trying to do something to help protect copyright holders, and maybe that doesn't happen.
I also think it's interesting, to your point on the wokeness of AI issue. Like, you know, JD Vance kept bringing up this like censorship of social media as like a terrible crime of a Democratic administration, right? And obviously, I think we all know that the current top of the line AI models, GPT and Claude from Anthropic, are you know, there's a lot of quote unquote guardrails around what you can ask it, right? You can ask it, if you ask it to build like a pipe bomb or whatever, it's not going to tell you, right? And then there's a lot of other sort of, I don't know if you would categorize them as woke, but you'd say safety related sort of actions taken by those companies. And my question is like, is someone like JD Vance in the VP slot going to go crazy on these companies that are, you know, regulating the speech of AI, quote unquote, and try to open up these models and make them a little wackier and maybe a little less safe when you talk to them?
Yeah, the weird part about all this is there is no regulation on this right now. It's all sort of internally regulated by the companies. OpenAI has a set of things they don't want ChatGPT saying to you, and it's true of XAI, of Grok. I believe when they launched their image model, you could ask for literally any copyrighted characters. You could ask for like Mickey Mouse holding assault rifles, or you know,
it was a fun moment.
Celebrities, yeah. And I think Elon himself, you know, also rolled that back, whether that's, you know, due to existing copyright law or, you know, their own internal desire to not have that be what users can make in their tool. It wasn't really some unique new AI regulation that had him do that.
Importantly, the Biden administration introduced an executive order that, in the words of the Andreessen Horowitz crew, regulated math, or made, you know, tried to make math illegal. It's like, if you're doing a lot of math, if it's big enough, you need to register with the government, and we're going to keep track of it. And so that was mostly monitoring, but it certainly was a sign that, okay, government is going to be much faster this time around than when with social media to sort of police the development of AI. So there's a big question of, does the Trump administration pick up the ball and say, oh, that was a good idea, we should keep doing stuff there? Or do they say, oh no, like our tech people, they don't really like that? And I think part of what we're sort of dancing around with Elon is like, some of the tech people, Mark Andreessen, Ben Horowitz, they endorse Trump. They don't want AI regulation. But then you've got Elon, who seems to be very worried about it. So it's not clear that there's actually a Silicon Valley Trump supporter consensus. And so therefore we don't know exactly what Trump is gonna believe in terms of how much the, either executive orders or pushing legislation needs to come along in AI.
I think this issue is going to come up around like job losses and job replacement at some point. Like all like half of American politics, it's all about jobs in the end. And I think that if and when we get to the point where there's meaningful job losses among a certain sector of workers, some party is going to step in and be the anti-AI party for that aggrieved group of workers. If we get self-driving trucks, pretty soon, and the 1.2 million truck drivers are losing their jobs, like that's probably a Republican anti-AI group, right? Like, F the AI that is driving our cars. Like, we need a regulation that mandates like there's always a human behind the wheel or something. And then on the other side, like for, Democrats, if it turns out it's a bunch of like college educated, like middle management, white collar workers, who, legal associates or something who are all getting replaced, and there's like massive job losses in those markets, I feel like the Democrats might step up and start being the anti-AI party, or the white collar job party to protect against AI. So my prediction is that at some point in the next 4 years, there's going to be a meaningful anti-AI backlash built around some sort of job losses. And I think it's really about what job losses come quicker, or what group of employees starts being more and more nervous about getting replaced by AI. Because if you look at the public polling, people are pretty nervous about AI already, and I think that's just going to keep escalating on a monthly, quarterly, yearly basis.
Couldn't be more opposed to that, but yeah, I agree with you that both parties seem likely to take up the mantle. I mean, I guess
it's going to be a popular viewpoint. Like, they took our jobs.
I'm sympathetic to the
South
worker.
Park joke, right?
Like America's version of like a safety net is like you should be able to get a job, and so. Yes. If we're not going to give, much stronger social benefits to people, then we're going to have to sort of take a heavy-handed approach to making sure that they can get jobs. I would much prefer to say, as we attack jobs and find efficiencies, give people more healthcare coverage and safety net benefits than these sort of backwards-looking job protections.
I guess maybe a counter take to that would be that one of the main lessons of the last election was that people seem to hate inflation a lot more than they hate unemployment. So maybe if AI is somewhat deflationary, in terms of
your eggs can be cheaper, all right?
Yeah, productivity going up. There's robots. There's robots
farmers now
picking those eggs. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe then it'll be hard to justify some of those regulations if you're seeing the benefits of a bit of the cooling of inflation.
I really disagree with the idea that people hate inflation more than they hate unemployment. I think it's all about the order of magnitude of both of these things, right? Again, like, yeah, people dislike 9% on inflation much more than they dislike like 4 to 5% unemployment. But if you go back to the Great Financial Crisis in 2008, like, unemployment's the reason George Bush and John McCain got completely incinerated in that election, right? It wasn't inflation. It was like job losses and the economy crashing and everything. So I think that if 5% of American workers lose their jobs due to AI in the next 4 years or something, or 10, like it's people are going to hate that. That would be my prediction. If there were a prediction market for that, I would throw some Dogecoin on it.